guys. Right.
Good evening and welcome to the Hackensack Meridian School of Medicine White Coat Ceremony for the 2022 cohort. Please take a moment. Please take a moment to silence your cell phones before the ceremony begins. Kindly stay in your seats during the processional, ceremony, and recessional. Photographers will be capturing important moments and photos will be available to all guests after the ceremony. At the end of the ceremony, please allow those on stage, the students, and faculty to exit first. There will be group photos taken of the students immediately after the ceremony. All other guests may proceed to the reception in the Prudential Hall lobby. Please give a warm welcome to our CEO, Mr. Bob Garrett, our interim dean, Dr. Jeff Boskamp, and the chairman of the Hackensack Meridian Board of Trustees, Mr. Frank Feckety, along with the School of Medicine cabinet members and our distinguished faculty and staff. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the newest class of the Hackensack Meridian School of Medicine. Please welcome our Master of Ceremonies, Dr. Miriam Hoffman, Vice Dean of Academic Affairs.
Good evening. I am delighted to welcome you to the White Coat Ceremony for the 2022 cohort of the Hackensack Meridian School of Medicine. I want to welcome our honored guests, leadership of the School of Medicine and of Hackensack Meridian Health, your dedicated faculty, staff, and administrators of the school, and cherished family and friends. And to you, our School of Medicine 2022 cohort, welcome to your White Coat Ceremony. Look at all the people here to celebrate and support you tonight and to welcome you to our sacred profession of medicine. We are here tonight to commemorate and mark your commitment to our profession. Your gifts and compassion are especially needed now in the face of the suffering brought on and highlighted by the COVID-19 pandemic. It has been a long few years for all of us, for all of you, and for the whole world. But being here today with all of you and everyone gathered to celebrate and welcome you gives me hope. We know that we are now in our new version of regular life. And we know that there are people and places that have not been as lucky as we have with access to vaccines and treatments, and to be able to be creating this new regular life that looks much like our life before the pandemic. We also pray for the healing and recovery of everyone who is still sick and suffering from COVID, from other illnesses, and from the toll that COVID has taken on so many, including the healthcare profession and all those at the front lines. But having spent a week with the 2022 cohort, I have hope, because I have seen the experiences that the faculty and staff have created for you, from sessions where you are learning how to learn in this curriculum and learning how to think like a physician, to experiences out in the community and even bringing the community onto our campus, to your first patient encounter last week, appropriately titled Life History. I saw you learning who your patient is, and I saw you begin to reflect upon and think about who you are as a person and now as a new physician in training. And in all those experiences, I have heard your voices. I have seen how you are beginning to think about and define who you will be as a physician, how you will approach your patients, your community, and your responsibility. And it gives me hope. It is a privilege to be a physician. It is a role and a professional identity you will develop over time. You will bring who you are to that process. You will learn from your faculty, from your patients, from community members, and from each other. It is our honor to be part of that process with you and to welcome you to our profession today. And always, always remember that we are all here to support, challenge, and guide you along this life-changing journey. At this time, I would like to introduce Frank Feckety, Chairman of the Hackensack Meridian Health Board of Trustees and a member of the School of Medicine's Board of Governors. Mr. Feckety has been a great supporter of the school, and we are honored to have him here with us today. Frank?
Thank you, Dr. Hoffman, for that kind introduction. And let's have a round of applause for Dr. Hoffman's dedication to our medical students. What a crowd. Hey, Bob, this started in your backyard.
It did.
You're gonna need a bigger house, I think. Welcome to the newest class of the Hackensack Meridian School of Medicine. You are the best and brightest of a generation. The White Coat Ceremony begins your medical education journey. It kicks off a challenge which you will find almost insurmountable at times. But there is a reason you are here, and you will persevere. We are going to need you. If the events of the last few years have taught us anything, health is everything. COVID-19 showed us that no matter how well we eat or how much we exercise, we are not assured of health. New diseases and unforeseen complications make good health precious. We also know that we must expand access to health care for more people. Right now, 1 in 4 people do not have a primary care physician. These connections are so important to maintaining health. We are proud to be part of the solution to deliver more doctors to the state of New Jersey. And our students will graduate with a deep commitment to humanizing healthcare. We are all patients at one point or another in our lives. It is a common experience that unites us all. You at the Hackensack Meridian School of Medicine are already learning this, the important linkages that connect us all. You are learning the human dimension of medicine. You are out in the community learning the value of how social factors help determine whether we get sick and how we get better. It's this educational foundation in this school that will train you to be great doctors. We at the Hackensack Meridian Health Board of Trustees look forward to each of these welcoming events, and this one is special. It is the largest class yet, and it shows how much promise you and this school bring into a bright new future. So at this time, I'd like to introduce Robert C. Garrett, the CEO of Hackensack Meridian Health. It was Bob Garrett who has helped bring together the state's largest and most comprehensive health network, and he was a driving force in creating this medical school. Bob is a national leader in healthcare and has received many accolades for his visionary leadership. For the last 2 years, he has been named #1 in the 10 CEOs transforming healthcare in America by the CEO Forum. It is my pleasure and honor to introduce Bob Garrett.
Thank you, Frank, for that kind introduction. Frank mentioned, and some of you probably have heard this story before, but Frank mentioned, you get all these honors and accolades, and #1 in innovation, whatever that particular award means. But I have to tell you, I am kept very grounded because when I get those kinds of accolades, #1, I go home and I tell my wife, hey, great news. I was #1 in innovation that, for the USA or whatever. And she goes, that's very nice. She goes, but I want to remind you, in our household, you're not #1, you're #7. Behind her, my 2 sons, my daughter-in-law, my granddaughter, and yes, my dog. So, but I appreciate the kind words, Frank. And, I want to give Frank a special shout out because Frank Feckety has led our board through really the most challenging times in healthcare history. These last 2.5 years, as we've battled COVID, really required special leadership. Somebody with a steady hand, somebody who was calm, cool, and collective, who really led our board with grace, style, and dignity. And we are so blessed to have him as our chair of the board. Frank Feckety, thank you for your leadership. So I'd like to welcome everyone. It's an honor to celebrate with our new class. Before I begin, I would like to give a special shout out to the chair of the Hackensack Meridian School of Medicine Board of Governors, Dr. Skip Williams, who couldn't join us this evening, but he sends his best wishes to all of you. And Dr. Williams has done an amazing job chairing that board and really helping to transform this medical school from a startup school to one of the leading medical schools in our nation. So let's give him a round of applause. We're grateful really to all of our board members because we couldn't be where we are today without their vision and their leadership. And I'd like to also recognize our interim dean, Dr. Jeffrey Boskamp, for his exceptional stewardship of this school. He's doing an amazing job. Yeah. Jeff stepped in at a very challenging time for us with the passing of our founding dean, Dr. Bonita Stanton, earlier this year. Bonnie, as we called her, was an extraordinary physician, an amazing researcher, and an inspiring educator. And we really honor her legacy at occasions like this by continuing the mission that she really started, the mission of the school to humanize medicine and to humanize healthcare. So, to our future physicians, I am thrilled to be here to celebrate on this momentous occasion, this monumental day. Before I say another word, I'm going to do something a little different. We usually give our graduating class a standing ovation after they complete their studies and they go on to their residency programs. But as this new class is starting their medical career and their medical school journey, I think we should give them a standing ovation at this time. So if you would join me, everybody, welcome to the new class. Don't tell the graduates that you got the standing ovation first. You have all made the choice to become a doctor, a healer, and to connect with people in ways that few of us ever can. The opportunities for physicians to improve the health of the American public are unparalleled. The practice of medicine remains strong among the most fulfilling of human endeavors. What a glorious privilege. The white coat is an enduring symbol of compassion and of honor. It is a reminder of the unwavering commitment you have to your patients. We're so proud to celebrate this milestone with you and all of your families. Let's give the families a round of applause as well. As Frank noted, the School of Medicine was a dream of mine and other leaders at Hackensack Meridian for more than a decade. And it is true, the thought of starting a new medical school happened in my backyard, have to say, after a couple of cocktails, and probably wrote the idea down on a napkin. But anyway, that's a story for another day. But I can't tell you how thrilling it is to see the incredible progress, this dream becoming a reality, and how much has been accomplished in such a short period of time. Today in healthcare, there's an urgent focus on improving outcomes and investing more in prevention and keeping people healthier. We understand that to improve healthcare in America, we have to listen more. We must invest in a partnership with people and not just connect with them in illness. We must consider all the factors that impact their lives because there's so much more to patients than what's in a medical chart. This is how we make America healthier and make sure everyone has access to good care, no matter who you are or where you live. Even before you write your first prescription, you will understand all of the factors that contribute to health or illness, like safe housing and financial stability, and access to healthy food and transportation. This innovative approach will define the future of medicine in America, and all of you will lead the way. You are an astonishing group and so poised for success. You were selected from nearly 6,000 applicants. I'm happy to report that collectively, you have the highest MCAT scores for any class so far. You can applaud that one. And half of you are New Jersey residents. Many of you will serve your residencies at Hackensack Meridian Hospitals and practice here in our great state, where you are truly needed. You speak 30 languages collectively, and you will continue a major goal of this school to diversify the physician workforce. You are joining a network that thrives on innovation and excellence. As Miriam noted, our healthcare heroes have done an extraordinary job. They've treated 85,000 COVID patients just at Hackensack Meridian alone, more than any other health network in the state. They remain deeply committed to our patients, and this is a reminder that this pandemic has not ended. They are treating patients as we speak today, some patients in critical care, some patients on ventilators. So, as I've done before since the start of this pandemic, let's give our frontline healthcare workers, our true American heroes, the round of applause that they deserve. We are expanding our reach across the state through our 17 hospitals and more than 500 patient care locations. Several of our hospitals are nationally recognized, including our children's hospitals, which are ranked #1 in the state of New Jersey. On the same campus as the School of Medicine is the Center for Discovery and Innovation. Global experts at the center are developing new treatments for COVID and other global threats. In fact, they just secured a record $108 million federal grant from the National Institute for Health to advance this research. Our John Theurer Cancer Center is ranked amongst the top cancer centers in the nation and is expanding so that patients can get specialized care closer to home. You are already part of this great Hackensack Meridian Health family. When I look at all of you, I'm so hopeful. I honor your commitment to become a doctor, a profession that will transform your life and in turn, the lives of countless people. Thank you and congratulations to all of you. Now it's my distinct honor to introduce our next speaker. Dr. Jeffrey Boskamp is the interim dean of the School of Medicine here at Hackensack Meridian Health. Dr. Boskamp serves as professor of pediatrics at the school and also serves as a member of the Hackensack Meridian Health Board of Trustees Academics Committee. I've known Jeff for probably 25 years, and I can tell you he is an outstanding physician, a caring educator, and a very, very special human being. So I'd like to introduce my good friend and the interim dean of the Hackensack Meridian School of Medicine, Dr. Jeffrey Boskamp.
Well, thank you for that, Bob, and thank you, Frank, Miriam, everyone for being here. I want to formally welcome you, you could say to the family, but the word I really want to use that's very important to all of us is welcome to the community. And I use that word thinking of Bonnie Stanton and the loss that we've gone through and how we've grieved over the past 6 months. And Bonnie's lesson to us all after she passed away was what an incredible community at the School of Medicine that she created. We are so strong because of what she built and what was put together here at the School of Medicine. So please, welcome to a community of people who care about others and care about each other. So it's great to see all of you and your families who have supported you in getting to this amazing embarkation spot as you start the greatest journey of your professional lives. This really is amazing. When I stood up in front of you 1 week ago at 8 o'clock and was honored to be the first person to talk to you as a class, I realized just how special you were and what a great journey, what a great ride this is going to be. I want to start by acknowledging our extraordinary admissions team. So the admissions team is what brought all of you together here. And I want to acknowledge Dr. Greg Simonian, who couldn't be with us today, but spearheads this team. It's an especially gratifying day for the admissions team. They have a totally different perspective. They look at you, and what do they see? They see admissions files, 6,000 admissions files that have now turned into a class, into real people who make up an incredibly diverse and extremely talented fifth class of medicine. We are so proud to have you here. It really is hard to take 6,000 applications and craft a class that will really fulfill our mission to create a new generation of physicians that are outstanding and different. And we're going to build that in a different way. And you are going to do it. You are going to change healthcare for sure. So thank you. Now, back to the journey that you're about to embark on. It's a quest filled with adventure and terror, defeat and triumph, agony and elation, breakthrough and disaster. And that's just one day. It's all happening in one day, and it is extraordinary. And I'm only half kidding. I am entirely serious in saying what a great decision you have made to take the first steps in this most rewarding journey, in this odyssey. It's a brave step, but you will be better for it, and the world will be better for it. Dean Stanton said it, and I have also said it throughout my entire career. I've never had a day when I wished that I'd become anything other than a physician. Even on those most difficult and trying days, never, ever have I thought that I should be doing something else. It's extraordinary. Medicine is a sacred calling, as you know. It's unique in that it fosters a level of trust virtually unmatched in any other discipline. Patients trust you in ways that they would never, ever trust another human being. That you need to think about that, because that is something that is incredibly important that you understand, because you are being entrusted in a way no other human beings will be trusted. For instance, you may place your physical well-being in the hands of a police officer or a firefighter. You might confide in the leader of your mosque or your church or your synagogue about your hopes and your fears and even your secrets. You might even wrestle with the deeper meanings of life on a therapist's couch. But doctors are always entrusted with all of it, every one of that, ministering to the wellness of those in their care of body and mind and spirit. But it actually goes even a lot further than that. The bond between a doctor and patient is something that expands and spans entire lifetimes. After all, that connection is with you from the first moments of life, and it will be there at the inevitable end. This bond can be life-saving, and when it is done right, it is life-affirming. Of course, this means that the profession carries tremendous responsibilities, and I know you all know that as you start. You must simply bring every bit of respect you have to every person you treat and counsel. The specificity of symptoms, of disease, of potential for cure must never obscure the totality of that human being that's on the end of your stethoscope, that nervous person in the waiting room, that individual who is about to be told news that will change everything for them, either better or worse. Meeting humanity on its own terms is the only way to do all of this right. Understanding diagnoses and therapies and prognoses will only get you half the way there, because you must comfort when you cannot cure. That's the humanism in this calling. That's the special sauce that winds its way through the Hippocratic Oath, which is the foundation of the physician's pledge that you are going to take in just a few minutes. It's likely you're already starting to feel the gravity of all of this in your very first steps on the journey, 1 week in. As you venture out into the communities and homes across New Jersey as part of your human dimension experience, you'll learn very firsthand the humanistic side of medicine. You'll come to learn that books and tests and grades are a really important part of the training that you need to be prepared for the unexpected things that will happen to you in every single day of your practice. But equally important will be those conversations, those moments with people who need your help. And they will teach you as much as the faculty here at the School of Medicine, because you won't always have the answers at hand. Sometimes the patients will give them to you, so always listen. And thus, you will become doctors in confidence yourselves. We live in a sometimes tumultuous world. We see this in the headlines every day, especially these days. Amid these uncertainties and conflagrations, doctors are the bedrock of society. They are crucial to humanity's well-being and peace. Peace. We who have undertaken medicine as a career are proud to be a source of so much good. You must remember that. And if you practice long enough and you practice well enough, your patients will become your friends, and your friends will become your patients. We are thrilled to be with you on this path to join us. Welcome to this greatest journey in your first steps. Godspeed to all of you. This remarkable School of Medicine will give you all the support you need to get there. For the next 3 or 4 years, you are going to be climbing the most incredibly steep learning curve. It's said that you'll learn more than 10,000 new words in the next 3 to 4 years. That's not an exaggeration. Good luck. We pledge, do all of you know what borborygmi are? You will. We pledge to be the guides by your side, and I look forward to being up here and shaking your hand at graduation and calling you doctor. Thank you. At this time, it's a great honor and privilege to introduce our keynote speaker, Dr. Sandra Gold. Dr. Sandra Gold and Dr. Arnold Gold are the co-founders of the Arnold P. Gold Foundation, which is a public not-for-profit organization established in 1988, along with their colleagues at Columbia University College of Physicians and Surgeons in New York, and they are philanthropists. The foundation supports clinicians throughout their careers, so the humanistic passion that motivates them at the beginning of their education is sustained throughout their practice. They strive to ensure that care and respect always govern the relationship between practitioner and patient. We are so lucky that Dr. Gold has been a dear friend of the School of Medicine. She has been at every one of our white coat ceremonies, and there are white coat ceremonies held in virtually every school across the country. Nursing schools, it has expanded out. The humanism that the Gold Foundation brings has expanded out everywhere. But guess what? She comes to our white coat ceremony. So I want to say that one of the other great honors that I've had in my career is actually working with Dr. Arnold P. Gold. So when the Gold Foundation was started in the late 80s, I had in the early 80s the pleasure of being an intern and resident on Dr. Gold's pediatric neurology service at the Babies Hospital at Columbia University. He was an extraordinary teacher. He was a mentor. He had a flock of people that followed him everywhere. He was like the lead duck, and all of us just scurried and hoped that what he would say would just through osmosis make us almost as smart as him. He was full of wisdom and humanism. His humanity was not lost by any of us who trained with him. And so I feel a very personal connection to Arnold, and we miss him tremendously. But anybody who trained at Columbia in pediatrics in those years will never, ever forget Arnold Gold. So it is my great privilege today to introduce Dr. Sandra Gold for our keynote address.
I love his talk. I want to give it next year, the same talk he just gave. So now the dinosaur is here, because this magical thing here, you know, it has the talk in it. But since I am never sure of what I'm going to say, then if I change my mind or I see you sleeping or something like that. So I'm afraid of it, because it's too magical. So you have to deal with my ruffling papers and et cetera. I'm so glad to be here. You're not supposed to have favorite children. So I'm not saying anything like this is my favorite school, nothing like that. But I am here every year. and I write a talk that I think is something you might want to hear. And I'm glad to see you all. I'm proud of you. And I better give the talk, because then they're going to get the hook. So greetings from Dr. Richard Levin and all of us at the Arnold P. Gold Foundation. We all love this school. To Dean Boskamp and to Bob Garrett and to all the administrative team and the faculty and the staff and the guests, and especially you, the class of 2022. Can you hear me? If you can't hear me, raise your hand. No. As a representative of the Arnold P. Gold Foundation, I'm deeply honored to have been given the privilege of speaking at each white coat ceremony since the inauguration of this medical school. And that today I have the pleasure of addressing you at this auspicious rite of passage, your white coat ceremony. You'll be happy to know that I've whittled my talk down to about 10 topics. No, I'm just kidding. Only 3, just 3 subjects for you to contemplate. You know, I always have 3 or a few take-home things that you can think about, and then call me up and say, you know, that's not true at all. And we have a conversation. The 3 topics this year are: 1, introductions, remembering Dean Benita Stanton and Dr. Arnold Gold, 2 of my favorite people. 2, expectations via the white coat ceremony. And the last, love and the Surgeon General of the United States of America. Anybody know who he is? You will. Introductions. The very essence of good medicine is the essential caring expressed through the doctor-patient relationship. A conversation I experienced many years ago with a 6'7" gentle giant of a man from Malawi, South Africa, who captured that special trust that you heard Jeff talk about, and Bob, and communication that is so powerful between 2 people. I have long since forgotten the gentleman's name, but I have long remembered what he said. He told me that in his village, there was no permanent doctor, but the residents had built the finest house for this itinerant doctor. I asked him why. He's never there. And this is what he said to me: my people loved our doctor, and our doctor loved us. We trusted him to take care of us. In fact, when the doctor arrived at our village and he stretched out his hand in friendship, the healing began. When the doctor just arrived at the village and stretched out his hand, the healing began. Something about that I understood. Students of 2022, you understand that kind of chemistry of trust and of how it contributes to healing. And it's a very important and wonderful thing that he taught me that day on his trip. I'd like to introduce you now to two people who fully exemplified that kind of caring doctor-patient relationship. And though they no longer physically walk this earth, they are surely here with us today in spirit. First, your founding dean of the Hackensack Meridian School of Medicine, Benita Stanton, MD, who died quite suddenly this past January, 2022. And second, Dr. Arnold Gold, the co-founder of the Arnold P. Gold Foundation and the creator of the White Coat Ceremony, and recently recognized in a book as one of the fathers of the discipline of child neurology, who died also in January 4 years ago. An introduction to the late Dean Bonnie Stanton may help you understand a great deal about your school and the educational experience you begin this week. From my perspective, it is her innovative vision, her quest for healing others, her love of humanity, and her pioneering spirit, which led her to work as a pediatrician in the slums in one of the poorest countries in the world, Bangladesh. And it led to her subsequent focus on the importance of the social determinants of health, which you heard other people speak about on this podium, and ultimately to her fascination and devotion to medical education. Bonnie's understanding of the value of community, interdisciplinary collaboration, and team building provided the foundation and philosophical architecture which supports and shapes the Hackensack Meridian School of Medicine. The Stanton fingerprints are everywhere. Students, her bequest to you is a roadmap for becoming the healer you entered medicine to become. Most important of all, you inherit a hand-picked faculty of intelligent, well-trained, don't listen all of you, you'll ask for a raise, of visionary, humanistic, dedicated teachers and skillful clinicians. And my list was much longer, but I decided that they would ask for a raise. So I cut it out, especially the word wise. They're wonderful people. And so few places in America and elsewhere do you have people on your faculty that you know are who you want teaching your students. You know, a lot of people inherit people, right? Right. Not here. As both a physician and a person, Bonnie Stanton practiced relationship-centered care. That's one I want you to talk about a lot. And she personified how to build trusting relationships with others. That's what was going on in Malawi. With the faculty and staff she chose, Bonnie helped to create a school unencumbered as much as possible by outdated traditions and worn-out curricula. She was especially culturally sensitive, with an eye toward balance and wellness and inclusion and ethics. Students, staff, educators, patients, all the community will be the beneficiary of her efforts. Bonnie Stanton, slim in stature and strong in will, was a thoughtful, kind, but frank, empathic, and honest leader. Her unusual combinations of attributes, such as being both pioneer and historian, both inspiration and activist advocate, both caregiver and CEO, made Bonnie very unique. Her quiet yet eloquent demeanor and diverse talents contributed to establishing Bonnie as a role model for each of us to emulate. You, the students at this wonderful school, will live her dream and thus keep her memory alive. You will grow and learn with Dean Bonnie Stanton at your side. Regrettably, I never had the opportunity to learn much about Bonnie's childhood and personal life, but I did come to know how she inspired admiration and, yes, love. As a doctor, an educator, and a colleague. When she offered her hand, trusting friendship was in it. When she stretched out her hand, the healing began. Next, I introduce my late husband and partner in all endeavors, Arnold P. Gold, Professor of Clinical Neurology and Pediatrics at the Columbia University Vagelos College of Physicians and Surgeons. That's too long a name. He conceived and co-created the White Coat Ceremony, and I'm going to tell you about that. And I'm going to tell you about him. Arnold was a child of the Great Depression. It left an indelible impression on him. His parents were both attorneys. My mother-in-law could practice law before she could vote in the United States of America in a federal election. But the family was quite poor, as were most people at that time. And when Arnold was 12 years old, his father died suddenly at age 45. And at that time, the family had in cash exactly $12 and change. By age 8, Arnold had announced his intention to become a physician. Will you believe it? True, Arnold was exceptionally intelligent, skipping 2 grades in elementary school, but he had no silver spoon and a known quota limiting the number of Jewish students admitted to medical schools in the U.S., but particularly in New York, where he was born. So his mother sent 12-year-old Arnold traveling alone across the country from Brooklyn to Galveston, Texas, where there were fewer Jewish families and perhaps less competition for available pre-med openings at college. Now, anybody else, mother here, do that for one of you? I don't know. Arnold was to live with a step-aunt, a woman not at all pleased to have her ex-husband's nephew in her home. And so based on many of the stories I heard, I once told Arnold that Cinderella had a better life than he had. He denied it vehemently, even though, among other things, he was served different meals by his aunt than she served to her 2 sons. But Arnold was always optimistic and positive. He received a scholarship to the University of Texas at Austin and worked 3 jobs to cover living expenses. Of course, his favorite job was being a waiter in the women's dining hall. On his 17th birthday, he enlisted in the Navy to serve in World War II. He was forever a patriot and often expressed his gratitude to his country by exclaiming he had won the lottery in life because he was born in the US of A. When the war ended, Arnold completed college on the GI Bill, and mostly due to the Jewish quota again, he studied medicine in French, a language he had previously never studied. He learned it in the 3 months of the summer before he went to medical school. He went to the University of Lausanne in Switzerland, where there was no quota, and he graduated first in his class. Arnold's service and experience during his medical education, however, you were waiting for me to get to that, I know. Why am I telling you all this? In some ways, mirrored the community-based concept here at Hackensack. He did domiciliary deliveries in the slums of Dublin, taking call by bicycle from a pub across from the old Rotunda Hospital. He served patients in rural Kentucky by horseback and rowboat when he worked as a physician in Mary Breckinridge's visiting nursing service. For a pediatric rotation, he lived 24/7 in the pediatric infectious disease polio ward of the Charity Hospital in New Orleans to be available to hand crank the iron lungs of the 31 children hospitalized there because the electricity service was erratic and often interrupted. He understood the value of the program that you are involved with. He understood the value of community-based education and experience. As chief resident in pediatrics, Arnold became captivated by a new discipline being introduced and taught at the Neurological Institute at New York. And in spite of his uncle Max, the doctor in the family, advising him he'd never make a living, he never heard of that, Arnold became the 6th licensed pediatric neurologist in the world. So, yes, indeed, he was a pioneer, And yes, eventually he made a living. Arnold was an exceptional clinician, researcher, teacher, author, and patient advocate for 57 years. He saw his last patients shortly before he died, and he loved his profession until his last breath. Take-home message number 2. Expectations via the white coat ceremony. What's the white coat ceremony anyway? You're in the middle of it. The white coat ceremony taking place here today was first conceived in 1991, 31 years ago, when Arnold and I were attending a commencement at Columbia University. And as the Columbia graduates stood up and they took their oath, and Arnold began shaking his head and muttering, "It's 4 years too late. It's 4 years too late. They're already much the doctors that they ever going to be." Later that very year, this discussion took place at the Gold Foundation board meeting, talking about Arnold's idea about defining goals and expectations for medical students earlier in the educational process, practically day one, just like what's happening here at this school. The vehicle that we created for setting the gold standard for the practice of medicine is a rite of passage we named a white coat ceremony. But really, it has little to do with the coats and much to do with an oath. By 1993, the first white coat ceremony took place at Columbia. And today, as you were told, nearly every accredited medical school in the nation, as well as more than 20 countries abroad, Afghanistan, Japan, Holland, Israel, Lebanon, I could go on, have an annual white coat ceremony, as well as half, because we're working on it, all the accredited nursing schools in the United States. We're working on that too. And diverse other medical specialties and disciplines that have come forward and wanted to be part of this. Though each school's ceremony reflects the culture of that particular school, most share the experience of receiving their first white coat. Some people don't have white coats. Stanford, for example, doesn't use white coats, so they give out stethoscopes. But all of them take a solemn oath that delineates the responsibilities of the physician to the patient. Since 1988, the Gold Foundation has accomplished much toward reestablishing the necessity for establishing trusting relations and caring in medicine, for setting expectations for humanistic clinical practice early in the education of medical students, and for keeping healthcare human. And you heard all about that. This school has humanism right up front. Here is an example of what might be called the gold standard of care. It's an anecdote told to me by a resident about a physician teacher at the New Jersey Medical School downtown over someplace else, to be nameless. But you may guess what it is. Okay, when it was always, this is an anecdote where the professor at this medical school summoned members of the house staff to the clinic on a Saturday when it was always closed. And as requested, several medical students and residents assembled there to join with their teacher and his patients, who had been alone together in the empty waiting room. After the exchange of greetings, the doctor began the physical exam. The patient was a man with a disfiguring facial cancer that at this late stage had left him with very few recognizable features. As the examination was winding down, the doctor put his arm around his patient and quietly inquired about how his life was going, and they shared a quiet intimacy that totally ignored those others present. It was as if the two men were alone once again. When the patient left, the doctor answered his student's unverbalized question, the elephant in the room, so to speak. Why were they at the clinic on a Saturday? The doctor patiently explained that he had changed the venue of the appointment to spare his patient the shocked whispering and the gawking stares that had tormented him during past appointments at the crowded clinic. This patient had begun to question his own humanity, an escalating personal concern that he had previously expressed to his doctor. In his present, nearly faceless form, he had begun to wonder if he were even human. The doctor explained that by simply placing his arm around his patient, he was affirming to him that he was indeed a much cared about fellow human being. Students, a caring mentor such as the doctor in the story sets an example for, quote, gold standard practice for the next generation of physician, and that's you. The white coat ceremony you're experiencing today was designed to introduce expectations to you regarding the significant value of humanism in healthcare. Arnold believed that learning about the emotional life, the mental health of a patient was as important in how well you know your physical anatomy. As you are cloaked in your first white coat and recite your oath, make a psychological contract about the kind of doctor you want to become. Do that today. And then keep the copy of the oath you take today near at hand and revisit it often. Then, at commencement, when you will renew your vow, you will be proud. Take home number 3. Love and the Surgeon General. More than 2,500 years ago, Hippocrates, the famous Greek physician, wrote about the relationship of medicine and the human emotion called love. He declared, quote, "Wherever the art of medicine is loved, there is also love of humanity," unquote. I have noticed, actually, in the 20th and 21st century, prior to the post-COVID pandemics, which brought the importance of the human connection into the public forum, that the word love, if not shunned, was rarely mentioned by medical professionals. So it was unusual to hear the theme of love expressed by a current Surgeon General of the United States, Rear Admiral and physician Vivek Murthy, who was moved to speak off his prepared remarks. In other words, he spoke from his heart to several hundred guests at an Arnold P. Gold Foundation event in 2016. Now, at that time, Dr. Murthy was the first time the Surgeon General in his term was during the Obama administration, and now he is the Surgeon General under the Biden administration. So imagine this, a very elegant naval officer in full military dress uniform, bedecked in ribbons and medals, delivering a powerful challenge about love in our world. The Surgeon General began by sharing that when he was in residency, people would often ask, and I quote, "Vivek, what's the more common thing you see? Is it diabetes? Is it cancer? What is it?" Meaning, which disease? He would answer instead, quote, "The most common thing I see is isolation. That stems from a lack of meaning and a lack of self-worth. And we have seen that our profession is not immune to isolation," unquote. Dr. Murthy calls for more true connection between people. He notes the missed opportunities, sometimes in an elevator, crowded with people who live in that building, neighbors or colleagues or workers, and they get into the elevator and there's suddenly a silence. And he says, or somebody's incredibly interested in the speck of dust on the ceiling, they're not paying attention to anybody. But it's those small moments, he says, that connections can be made, often without words even, but a simple smile or glance. Dr. Murthy evoked the white coat ceremony. He extolled its efficiency. Quote, "We know," he said, "that medicine has a powerful culture, which is why I think the white coat ceremony is such a stroke of genius." Of course, we loved hearing that. I went through one myself, he said, and that kind of affirmation of values is what we have to keep doing early, because it is not actually about teaching medical and nursing students what values they should have. It's about preventing them from losing that during the 3 or 4 years of medical school, losing the values they already have. And I wanted to say that this is a very important message and a call for me to watch out for that, because evidence demonstrates that during those 3 or 4 years that you're going to spend in medical school, many young doctors do lose their humanism. The programs at the Arnold P. Gold Foundation are designed to eliminate or mitigate that decline, but you have to try to hold on to why you wanted to study medicine. Hold on to that. The Surgeon General appealed for more empathy, optimism, and courage, not only in healthcare, but in our society. And that's why the programs here are going to be so meaningful and helpful to you and your fellow students. If you think about empathy, optimism, and courage, they are all manifestations of something deeper, a deeper energy. And that energy, Vivek calls, is love. I have long believed that there are really only 2 forces, he said, that guide our actions in this world, love and fear. Now, love sometimes manifests as compassion, as empathy, optimism, courage, generosity. And fear has its manifestations as well, as anger, insecurity, jealousy, and sometimes outright fear. Our world right now is locked in a struggle, he said, between love and fear. And the question is, which way will the balance go? Dr. Murthy pleads with all of us to put our thumbs on the scale and to tip the balance toward love. He asks that you do so through your thoughts, through your words, and through your deeds, that you do so at home, at work, and in your community, that you do so when everyone is looking, but also when no one is looking. Imagine what could happen if we create a world that is fueled by love. We could have a world where we gave people the benefit of the doubt. Imagine that. A world where we could truly talk to each other, even about things that we disagree on. A world where people stepped up to help each other, even when it did not seem like their immediate self-interest was at stake. Imagine all this surprising plea from a devoted military naval officer. That is the kind of world we could create, a world fueled by love. So in conclusion, in the very first moments of meeting Dean Stanton and meeting her administrative team back in the old days, 2018, it was clear to me that they and the outstanding faculty that is assembled to teach at this innovative new medical school are devoted pioneers and spirited leaders in the battle for the heart and soul of medicine being waged in our nation. Remember, according to Aristotle, quote, education of the mind without education of the heart is no education at all. Students, as you seek to alleviate human suffering in the world, your education here at this school will prepare you and empower you to provide optimal health care for your fellow human beings based on excellent skills, true compassion, and love for your fellow human beings. So my charge to you, I always end these using Arnold's words. So here goes. May you enjoy your life as a physician and be a blessing to your patients and all who know you. Always try to be the kind and skilled doctor you would want to take care of your mother, father, sister, brother, wife, husband, child, or anyone you love. Be the kind and skilled doctor you would want to take care of you if you became ill. And Arnold's favorite, In the memorable words of that eminent physician Hawkeye from the TV show MASH, who articulated some years ago at a Columbia University College of Physicians and Surgeons commencement, quote, "I hope you will always remember this. The head bone is connected to the heart bone, and don't ever let them come apart." So students of 2022, I wish you a glorious professional journey. Wear your white coat with pride. Wear it well. Congratulations.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Gold. We are just so lucky to have such a special relationship with you and with the Arnold P. Gold Foundation. As I think we all can share and know at this point, humanism is at the heart of this School of Medicine. And at this first moment, as you enter our profession, we do not just mark it with the donning of a coat. This ceremony has a theme and a purpose. What does humanism mean to you? When you graduate, you will see that we will ask you the very same question as part of your commencement ceremony, marking that moment with the same focus we have today. At this time, I would like to invite Dr. Ophelia Martinez to come forward. Dr. Martinez is an Assistant Dean of Medical Education and Director of Clinical Skills at the school. She will share perspectives on humanism. Dr. Martinez.
Thank you, Dean Hoffman. Over the past 6 days, as your orientation to the Hackensack Meridian School of Medicine, we have asked you to ponder the inequities in our healthcare system, question the status quo, acknowledge our shared responsibility to do better for our patients, our communities, and to make a commitment. We have called on you to join in our shared vision that each person in New Jersey and the United States, regardless of race or socioeconomic status, will enjoy the highest levels of wellness in an economically and behaviorally sustainable fashion. We have heard your reply and are thrilled to welcome such motivated partners. Thank you, 2022 cohort. Scrolling on the screen is a visual representation that each of your 21 groups created to describe what humanism and the practice of medicine means to you. After the ceremony tonight, I encourage you all to view the narrated slides using the QR code in your program. Each one is more inspiring than the next. Irrefutable evidence you have entered this partnership with your hearts and minds wide open. Group All for One, One for All expressed that humanism is at the heart of everything we will strive to do as physicians. Here at the Hackensack School of Medicine, we believe this is indeed true. The value we place on humanism is reflected by its central role in our curriculum. You started your professional journey in these first 6 days as student physicians by reflecting on your individual values and your values in this new professional role. Group, the Fab 5+3, shared that humanism begins at the individual level and incorporates humility, empathy, and authenticity. Your collective eagerness to demonstrate these values with your first patients in our simulation center last week was palpable. Even so early in your professional journeys, you recognized and aimed to demonstrate behaviors which focus on meeting your patients' needs. Group Lucky Number 13s described that humanism means listening to actively comprehend and asking questions that encourage deeper understanding. Group Ubuntu shared that humanism means acknowledging with humility that you and your patient are equals in the encounter. While Group The Handholders shared their values of warmth, communication, respect, and selflessness. We know all these values to be solid foundations for establishing therapeutic alliances with your patients and their families. This was only the first of countless opportunities we will provide you to develop your patient-centered engagement skills. You will learn this is one of many skills you will continue improving for the entirety of your professional careers. You also courageously welcomed your patients' perspectives on how you made them feel as your patients. Group Team 14 for Teens noted humanism means humility to grow from feedback. We could not agree more. We are committed to fostering a culture of feedback. Over the next few years, we will teach you how to engage in effective conversations and coach you to integrate these perspectives to hone your skills. In addition to the critical work you did last week setting a foundation for your new professional identities, you also actively engaged in a broad range of other activities. You have learned about the elements of our curriculum, how they interconnect, and how they will prepare you for your future practice of medicine. You have been exposed to many of our instructional methods intended to activate and apply your nascent knowledge. A guiding principle of our curriculum is the patient is always at the center. You have established your groups, your partners in this journey, and explored your new community, bearing witness to determinants of health at play in your windshield tours throughout New Jersey. Group The Care Bears expressed that humanism means advocating for your patients, actively engaging with the community, and showing awareness in society. You really get it. These activities aim to ground you in our Hackensack Meridian School of Medicine values, paramount to our vision of health equity. Values of lifelong learning, excellence, inclusion, service, and holistic patient care. It has been a full 6 days to be sure, reflecting on what brought you to this moment, expressing your values, affirming your professional goals, and committing to a shared vision of better health for all are all critical first steps. We know there is much hard work ahead, a rigorous curricular program, navigating the often dynamic balance of work and personal life. Maybe even a few stumbles, which you must learn from in order to grow into the medical professionals you aspire to become. This is a sentiment also expressed by Group Humanities, who state humanism means growing as professionals to better serve others. The response of the healthcare workforce to the COVID pandemic exemplifies so many of the values you have expressed. In particular, growth, collaboration, innovation, selflessness, hope, and most importantly, humanism. Group 4U stated humanism means they are motivated to make a difference for the patients they are lucky enough to care for. You're all here for a reason. Your values have informed the gifts you have chosen to nurture, the goals you strive for, and the sacrifices you have intentionally made to meet them. We already knew you were prepared for the intellectual challenges of medicine, eager to absorb all the knowledge and wisdom we collectively have to offer. You have also demonstrated your intention to uphold the humanistic values which are the core of medical practice. It is our deep privilege to be your navigators, guiding your way, your partners as we learn from and with you, and your champions, for we know you, each and every one of you, have an important role to play in improving health for your future patients and our communities. I will conclude by giving you a charge from one of your groups, proving you are an advanced group indeed, because you're already assimilating Dr. Gold's lessons. Be the reason someone smiles, the reason someone feels loved and believes in the goodness in people. This simple reminder can anchor you through your incredible journey in medicine. Stay true to the humanistic values you have highlighted tonight, so they will always be the cornerstones of your professional identities as healers, as change agents, as physicians. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Martinez, and to the 2022 cohort. At this time, we will begin the presentation of the white coats. Please welcome Dr. David Kuntz, Senior Associate Dean for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion at the School of Medicine, and Co-Chief Academic Officer and Vice President for Academic Diversity at Hackensack Meridian Health. Dr. Kuntz.
Thank you, Dr. Hoffman. At this time, I'd like to invite Dr. Philip Ayeni, Dr. Kristen Clark, Dr. Jose Contreras, Dr. Nora Doty, and Dr. Stacy Dumas to join me on the platform. I would also like to invite Michelle Divney and Dr. Elizabeth Colts to come forward to distribute the Gold Foundation and Hackensack Meridian pins. I would like to ask the following students to join us on the platform to receive their white coats. Ahmed Abid, Gabrielle Akori, Eliza Diane Adam, David Benjamin Adams, Quinn Adams. Physicians, please invest the white coats. I would like to ask the following students to join us on the platform to receive their white coats. Samantha Adwani, Faizan Ahmed, Imasir Ali, Mir Yabur Ali, Sanya Ali. Physicians, please invest the white coats. Okay, congratulations. Would the following students join us on the platform to receive their white coats? Garrison Blake Allen, Saba Al-Sanor, Shabat Al-Rakibi, Siddharth Anand, Kelly Alexandra Apo. Physicians, please invest the white coats. Would the following students please join us on the stage? Hernan Alberto Arias Ruiz, Hunin Bushir, Vida Maria Bunkauskas, Shady Rafat Barsoom, Brian James Bartlett. Physicians, please invest the white coats. Would the following students join us on the platform to receive their white coats? Hannah Nessa Bouchard, Grace Louise Basralian, Lee Christopher Beauchamp, Devin Michael Beckman, Malika Barus. Physicians, please invest the white coats. Would the following students join me on the platform to receive their white coats? Jordan Connor Berry, Noelle Bay Bissett, Rihanna Batia, Priya Bave, Ashley Catherine Biswal. Physicians, please invest the white coats. Would the following students join me on the platform to receive their white coats? Mira Bess Bleckerman, Nicholas James Blunt, Julia Michelle Botvinov, Andrew Brofsky, Sarah Lillian Brunet. Physicians, please invest the white coats. Congratulations. Would the following students join me on the platform to receive their white coats? Yaakov Z. Cantor, Chilin Sao, Alexander Joseph Cardiero, Mitchell Ellis Carden, Megan Alana Catalano. Physicians, please invest the white coats. Okay, congratulations. Would the following students join me on the platform to receive their white coats? Nicholas Andrew Cepeda, Caitlin Chalhoub, Amber Wysong Chang, David W. Chin, Grace Ann Chester. Physicians, please invest the white coats. Congratulations. Would the following students join me on the platform to receive their white coats? Jeremy Chang, Daniel Choi, Elma Alfraz Chaudhry, Michelle Jacqueline Singina, Lucas Robert Klopsy. Physicians, please invest the white coats. Would the following students join me on the platform to receive their white coats? Catherine Muse Collimore, Zachary Cullen, Samantha Devansa, Austin McCleary Damaru, Melissa Catherine Davidi. Physicians, please invest the white coats. I would now like to invite Dr. Michael Giuliano, Assistant Dean of Faculty, Resident, and Student Development, to come to the lectern.
Thank you, David. I'd like to invite Dr. Samuel Elias, Dr. Angelia Gupta, Dr. Barry Joseph, Dr. Jason Korzak, and Dr. Mike and Mitchell Miller. Please join me on the platform to invest the next group of students. Would the following students join us on the platform to receive their white coats? Connor DeFranzo, Lucas De Gregorio, Tejan Denning, E.G. Durman, and Pauline DeMano. Physicians, please invest the white coats. Congratulations. Would the following students please join us on the platform to receive their white coats? Santush Dune Pude, Robin Don, Philip Ekomanu, Adam Elkole, and Nicola L. Tom. Physicians, please invest the white coats. Congratulations. Would the following students please join us on the platform to receive their white coats? Kenan Fiden, Lindsay Fogel, Jessica Falk, Alan Fuchs, and Mackenzie Fox. Physicians, please invest the white coats. Congratulations. Would the following students please join us on the platform to receive their white coats? Harrison Fu, Caitlin Gartley, Leah G. Kishvilila, John Giordani, and Gwendolyn Glatz. Physicians, please don their white coats. Congratulations. Would the following students join us on the platform to receive their white coats? Eliza Greenberg, Sandra Gurgis, David Hanna, and May, I'm going to get you, May, Hatsuzaki, and Madison Henrik. Physicians, please invest the white coats. There's always one. Will the following students please join us on the platform to receive their white coats? Hamza Hussain, Arishia Jain, Vanshika Jain, Mohit Jairam, and Zaji Jin. Physicians, please invest the white coats. Congratulations. I'd ask the following students to join us on the platform to receive their white coats. Bruno Kalas, Sijal Kapoor, Daniela Kay, and Edgar Kazarayam, and Federica Calanda. Physicians, please invest the white coats. Make sure you get the pictures. I would like to ask the following students to join us on the platform to receive their white coats. Ahmed Khan, Luna Kim, Zavia King, Santush Kodure, and Jonathan Krantz. Physicians, please invest the white coats. Congratulations. I would ask the following students to join us on the platform to receive their white coats. Madison Liezo, Shiti Lambda, Jasper Lee, Andrew Leung, and Alan Lee. Physicians, please invest the white coats. Congratulations. I'd ask the following students to join us on the platform to receive their white coats. Catherine Liu, Evan Locke, Matthew Lubke, Grace Maloney, and Shrivas Manuvel. Physicians, please invest the white coats. Congratulations. And I'd like to ask the following students to join me on the platform to receive their white coats. John Marson, Nicholas Makovic, Vaughn McEnough Jr., Dietri Metha, and Haria Kazi. Physicians, please don their white coats. Congratulations. Now I'd like to invite Dr. Catherine Clauser, Assistant Professor of Pediatrics, to come to the lectern.
At this time, I would like to have Dr. Muki Maniapanda, Dr. Arpita Shrivastava, Dr. Michael Sullivan, Dr. Bridget A. Tracy, and Dr. Kelly Usuri Kronhaus to join me on the stage. I would now like to ask the following students to join me on the platform to receive their white coats. Philip Matreski, Kelly Slattery Morsanakis, Shruti Mukherjee, Aradhana Abi Natarajan, and Jack Noto. Physicians, please invest the white coats. I would like to ask the following students to join me on the platform to receive their white coats. Angelique Ogunshamowo, Suzette Omani, Charles Narayan Palmer, Tian Run Pan, Azam Ahmed Parvez. Physicians, please invest the white coats. I would like to ask the following students to join me on the platform to receive their white coats. Viha Harshad Patel, Ryan William Paul, Lee Michelle Plaisel, Harvey Ken Parzuelo, and Michael Povolatis. Physicians, please invest the white coats. I would like to ask the following students to join me on the platform to receive their white coats. Maxwell Zachary Price, Andrea Radovic, Ruchi Sumil Raval, Robert Chase Reisler, and Archana Sadangi. Physicians, please invest the white coats. I would like to ask the following students to join me on the platform to receive their white coats. Justin Ronald Sadenwick, Gabriel David Salazar, Ria Savla, Herschel Shaw, and Charlotte Slavic. Physicians, please invest the white coats. I would like to ask the following students to join me on the platform to receive their white coats. Avi Slavin, Chandler Allen Sparks, Nihal Kodandaram Sirimanevi, Guy Stein, and Omid Tabatabai. Physicians, please invest the white coats. I would like to ask the following students to join me on the platform to receive their white coats. Daniel Eugene Thyman Jr., Nathaniel Tremonti, Abhinav Udayar, Nafi Ula, and Brensmark Ballesteros. Physicians, please invest the white coats. I would like to ask the following students to join me on the platform to receive their white coats. Fiamma Van Bema, Justina Varghese, Courtney Vysisco, Caitlin Voidy, and Igor Volkotrub. Physicians, please invest the white coats. I would like to ask the following students to join me on the platform to receive their white coats. Mallory Volbricht, Lauren Lynn Vu, Aman Wasim, Conrad Thomas Weiss, and Lucas Edward Werner. Physicians, please invest the white coats. And I would like to ask the following students to join me on the platform to receive their white coats. Jordan Thomas Windsor, Miriam Elizabeth Walter, Peter Wynn, Kevin Zhu, and Shayes Yogiswaran. Physicians, please invest the white coats. And I would like to ask the following students to join me on the platform to receive their white coats. Daniela Zaitseva, Mallory Rose Zeman, Kevin Zhang, and Eric Zhu. Physicians, please invest the white coats. Thank you very much to our third group of donors. We would like to thank Dr. Mani Panda for stepping in for Dr. Rosen at the last minute. Thank you. You may be seated.
Thank you to our faculty and our administrators for being an important part of this moment. At this time, our 2022 cohort will recite the Physician's Pledge. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Carmela Ricchetti, Director of the Human Dimension course, to lead the students in the recitation.
Thank you, Dr. Hoffman. As a tradition in the medical profession, we will now recite an oath, which can be found on the back cover of your program. In a moment, we will recite the Physician's Pledge from the World Medical Association, which was originally created in 1948 and later updated in 2017. This moment marks your formal entrance into the study of medicine. May I ask the cohort of 2022 to please rise. I also invite all physicians in the audience and on the platform to stand and affirm their oath with our students. As a member of the medical profession, I solemnly pledge to dedicate my life to the service of humanity. The health and well-being of my patient will be my first consideration. I will respect the autonomy and dignity of my patient. I will maintain the utmost respect for human life. I will not permit considerations of age, disease, or disability, creed, ethnic origin, gender, nationality, political affiliation, race, sexual orientation, social standing, or any other factor to intervene between my duty and my patient. I will respect the secrets that are confided to me, even after the patient has died. I will practice my profession with conscience and dignity and in accordance with good medical practice. I will foster the honor and noble traditions of the medical profession. I will give to my teachers, colleagues, and students the respect and gratitude that is their due. I will share my medical knowledge for the benefit of the patient and advancement of healthcare. I will attend to my own health, well-being, and abilities in order to provide care of the highest standard. I will not use my medical knowledge to violate human rights and civil liberties, even under threat. I make these promises solemnly, freely, and upon my honor.
Thank you, Dr. Ricchetti. Our values and commitment are captured in this and in similar oaths. Medical professionals across the world continue to demonstrate these values in their actions each day, even in response to extreme situations like the one presented by the COVID pandemic. Reflect on the past few years that have been filled with great need and suffering. When you are tired of the seemingly endless knowledge you need to learn, let the scientific advances made to prevent and treat COVID motivate you and fuel your determination. When you question your role in a patient's care and feel in the way, remember the power of your words and your presence, and the comfort that you can provide by caring and listening, even as a first-year medical student. Knowing the impact you can and will have, Hearing your reflections on humanism and how you see your role and professional identity as a physician gives us all hope. So when you are feeling lost or discouraged, remember all that has been accomplished through teamwork, compassion, and humanism, even in the most difficult of times. And know that you are part of us at the Hackensack Meridian School of Medicine, and we are here for you. We are so grateful and honored to be part of this journey with all of you. Thank you. Students, please remain in your seats after the auditorium clears for a class photo. Family and friends, please feel free to take photographs with your student after the class photo, and we hope that you will all join us for a reception in the Prudential Hall lobby. Thank you.
I just want us to get things out of the way.